Hello guys, welcome back to another YouTube video. My name is Milky Moth and today we're looking at these three cards here. I have a 1070, a 2070 and a 3070. 3 generations. It's pretty exciting. Alright, so what I've done, I've actually done a benchmark of all three of these cards here just to compare the sort of specs that we're getting across the generations. The 1070, remember, was released in 2016, whereas 2 years later we came along with this 2070, and another 2 years later, now in 2020, we have this 3070. It's very exciting. If we just take a quick look at the specs on all three of these cards, they all do have the same amount of VRAM. They all have 8 gigabytes of VRAM. They all retailed for around the same sort of price point as well. But the big thing is the performance on them. If we also look at the different amounts of CUDA cores that they have, it's quite interesting also. So our 1070 has 1,920 CUDA cores compared to our 2070 having 2,070. Our 3070 now has bumped that up even more to 5,688 CUDA cores. It's pretty exciting. Okay, in terms of the benchmarks, I've run 2 different benchmarks at different resolutions. So we ran the superposition benchmark and we also ran the 3D Mark benchmark for all three of these cards at different resolutions. We did it at 1080p high, 1080p extreme. We also did 4K optimized, and then we ran the 3D Mark benchmark as well. So we're going to compare all 3 different scores that we got for those. If you look at the 1070 card first, the scores that we got are quite interesting. 1080 high, we got a score of 9,391 with an average frame per second of 70.24. Moving over to 1080 extreme, we got a score of 3,519 with an average frame per second of 26.32. Now moving over to 4K optimized, our score was around the 5,670 mark with an average frame per second of 42.41. For the 3D Mark score for our 1070, we got a nice score of 6,176 with an average frame per second on our first GPU test of 40.01 and an average frame per second on our second GPU test of 35.60. Okay. So on 1080p high with our 2070, we got a score of 11,745. Now that absolutely trumps the score that we were getting on our 1070 by a large margin. The average frames per second also was 88.22 for this bad boy at 1080 high. 1080 extreme is a different story on the 2070. We got a score of 5,296 and an average frame per second of 34.61. Now, 4K optimized pumps up a little tiny bit. We did get a score of 7,101 with an average frame per second of 53.12. Now, moving over to our 3D Mark benchmark, we got a score of 8,802 for this bad boy, with an average frame per second for our first test of 56.93 and on our second test of 50.83. Not too bad. Now, moving over to our final card that we have here, the 3070. This one is the Founders Edition, which is quite nice. Now, this bad boy here, 1080p high, this card demolishes the other cards. It almost doubles what our 1070 got in terms of its score. It got a score of 16,495 with an average frame per second of 123.38. Now, moving over to 1080 Extreme, we got a score of 8,595, which is similar to what our score for this one was on 1080 high. Now, we also got an average frame per second of 64.29 at 1080 extreme. Moving over to 4K optimized, our score is a little bit higher. Again, 11,066 for this one, and with an average frame per second of 82.44. Moving over to our 3D Mark score, this one absolutely trumped all the other ones with 13,622 with an average frame per second on our first GPU test of 84.50 and 77.55 on our second GPU test. Meaning that this card is almost double what this card is within just 4 years. That's how far technology has advanced. It's pretty cool. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you weren't already aware, I stream every Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday over on Twitch, so you should definitely go check that out. Link below. If you want to pick up a couple of these products here, probably more likely this one as these two are end of life. There will be links down in the description as well. I hope you enjoyed yourselves this video. You should also check out the Milky Mart. Go to the merch store, get yourself a hoodie like this one. It's quite exciting. There's a whole lot of different ranges of merch that you can pick for there as well, which is really cool. Alright, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a like and subscribe to be notified of any future videos as well. I'll see you guys next time.